work? Okay. Okay, good morning everyone. For the few members in attendance here and the one or two online, let me see. How many do we have online, guys?
But I think we must tell them that we are now online because somebody was commenting there's nothing showing.
Try. Okay. Please just post there that we are currently on. Yeah, if we go on now,
We're online, but there's a graphic.
Oh.
Now
Okay. Maybe this one is the.
How many of us in the room are online on the list? All three places. 6 people in the room, 6 people online. 12, we have one.
Meanwhile, we are just 16.
That's actually quite a challenge.
Okay, so we're just hoping to get a few more people logging in online. We're looking to get a quorum of at least, I think, 12 people. We have 12 to 15. That would be great. I do believe that for certain votes it should be 50%. Okay, but that's 50% of the quorum, right, if I understand it correctly.
50, so 17 people of the paid up members.
Yeah. So if we can get that, we're good to go.
Good. And if not,
Will you talk us through what we're going to talk about? Or?
Yellow? Yellow? Please share the notice again.
Okay.
You can even put it on the group.
you're watching YouTube videos.
Watching me!
So you're changing the quorum numbers.
This one is off, this one is off.
Okay, lovely. At least there's still a smile.
just in case you say something that you shouldn't.
No, I won't talk about Ndilumani, don't worry.
Yeah, and you just did.
I've shared the.
Okay, great stuff.
Cool, what are we doing, guys?
Okay, give me a second.
We're doing the opening and welcome, and when we get to the confirmation and quorum, then we figure out whether or not we have enough.
Yeah, so that's the tricky part where we are. Do we have a quorum or not? Okay.
Can I add an agenda point?
Actually not.
The future of FAN.
Like right now, okay, so I think I can switch on here. Okay, everybody. I mean, this is not the official opening yet of the meeting, but I think it would be good if we just have a look at the agenda. So there's the opening and welcoming, confirmation of quorum, which we are currently having difficulty with. Then there's the disputed internal reshuffle of board portfolios. I think that one was well documented amongst the membership. Then there's the presentation and members' endorsement of the National Content Creation Program, NCCP. And number 5 would then be next steps in terms of the constitutional review and member-driven reforms, after which we will then have the closing. It goes without saying that we only have this place until 12 o'clock, so our upwards limit is still there, so we cannot really go beyond that. So we'll have to deal with these matters succinctly within the time that we have.
Seems like the presentation
It's superfluous.
It's become public already.
It's almost superfluous, but I think it would be worth discussing that.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, it would have been nice if I had to, don't you want to join me here just for Just for, you know. For variety's
Do
sake.
you want to sit here?
I think
We
that might
just
be
turn
better.
the cameras around.
This way.
Yeah, I think that might be better
Because the light works, isn't it?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, let's go. Let's have
Come.
a...
Join us.
Yeah, this story.
It's unfair.
It's very unfair,
Sit
guys.
alone there.
Amazing. Fan. Nancy, you want to talk first?
Oh, you go. Give it to him.
I'm good.
Guys, don't watch the microphone.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Right in my seat. Make yourself comfy.
Okay.
I have a question. Does this mean a quorum? I don't feel like it means a quorum.
No, not yet.
We're checking.
We're checking,
If you
we're
have a
trying to
question,
hold on
you
to
must-
that.
Oh, does this mean a quorum?
There are like 5 people online, but we're not sure if how many of these are.
I'm at least one of the 5.
Oh, okay.
No, okay, then we have 4.
But you're a paid up member now, or not? I don't know,
Why
man.
would I come to a fan meeting if I'm not a paid-up member? Why would I come here?
Come and check out.
Oh, I know. You see, there are 2 groups. I know that, but there's the other group, and then there's that group.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they put like in the 2025 group only the people that have
That
paid.
Paid up. Okay.
But then of course the meeting was shared in both.
Yeah, true.
Are you a paid-up member?
All of us are.
Yeah.
See, there's one member trying to call in.
Struggling.
Let me just quickly take this one.
Only calling you.
Please, yeah.
You might.
I can get this one off. Sure. Check on Shona as well. Yes, sir. Excuse?
Remember that NCCP?
Who's it? Okay, it's almost there. Doesn't help us much. Yeah, and still we go to.
You don't know those. I keep on watching the video. I'm like, okay, they're doing so much.
It's very sad.
That is not observation. That's just what you said.
Yeah. And I,
I know you're trying to explain that. The people were saying, I saw you. And I was like, they won't hear.
Never, guys. Oh, you gotta listen to him, my friend.
And you were trying to like, guys, here at the age you came. No, it's not the AGM, it's the SGM.
Yes. Yeah, we like getting technical about. Yeah.
Oh, nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my mic is on. Okay. Am I on the TV? Oh. Hello, hello. Okay, guys, let's kick this one off officially now. I think I dare say, if it suits the members present, yeah, let's open with a prayer, if it's okay with you guys. Yeah, please. Any volunteers? Okay. Okay, lovely, guys. Yeah, let's get some flair in the cameras. Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you for your grace and your mercy that brings us all here today. It is astounding, Lord, and such a blessing that we can be a bunch of filmmakers coming together, trying to have a unified voice for the sake of this industry, Lord. I pray that you guide our deliberations. I pray that you guide our words, that you guide our thoughts, that what we do here today might be to the benefit of the entire industry, not just the individuals here present, but for the entire industry in this country and for generations to come as well. I pray this in your in the name of your Son. And I do believe, Lord, that you will be present here guiding us in Jesus' name. Amen. Yes, okay, we had to do that, guys, because let's also be frank about the situation with so few people here today. One actually has to wonder whether this is the funeral of FAN. It's all good and well that we as filmmakers have such loud voices online, but when it comes to the things that matter, it's saddening to see that we cannot show up, not even for ourselves. Yeah, so it's hardly the way to open a meeting with a berating as such, but I think it's a thirst reality that we all are facing here as we try and move forward. If we can just confirm again in terms of the quorum before I go through the agenda, how far are we to having a quorum? I think at this stage, no. We don't have a quorum. 2, 6, 7. Okay, so that's good. Double check.
5. But then
Oh.
none of us minus me.
So
Okay.
that's 12, so you are
1%
still
is
shy.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
But
12 is
12.
for voting.
Not for voting in this particular case. So I think that it would then suffice to start the conversation. Hopefully, I know of at least 2-3 members that are still on their way here. So let's start the conversation in terms of the agenda. So the agenda points is the opening and welcoming, the confirmation of quorum. I think that's the point where we are now. And then we needed to move on to the disputed internal reshuffle of board portfolios. The next point on the agenda after that would be the presentation of the NCCP concept. And then, of course, at 5, we wanted to look at the steps going forward in terms of the constitutional review and how this organization should be run or member-driven reforms, as it's written there. So in terms of what we want to do as an association, we must always make sure that it is driven by the members, and how do we ensure that going forward. But coming to the first agenda point, the disputed reshuffle of the board portfolios. It would have been nice if Vixen was here to also help answer to this, because I do believe him and Armas would be central in that conversation, as well as maybe somebody like Shuna. But we also have Angelo here, who is, I'm not sure at this particular stage, on the board, and he was part of that process. So maybe if I could, Angelo, if you would like to add a few thoughts or your impressions of what happened there before I shoot in terms of my comments.
Good morning, everybody. But I think it will be wise if we have probably Armas or Vixen part of the conversation, because it will be speaking behind their back.
Okay.
So if we can move on to another, maybe another point, and then come back once one of them are around, and then we can probably engage in that one.
Okay. Tom, I do believe you had a mic there. Switch it on though. No, it's here. But I can see that at top. Are you there?
Good morning. Okay, I think I agree with shifting that discussion point, but I think what's important to establish the grounds is, was ever it agreed on that the board tenure can be extended?
Mm-hmm.
Did the members vote on that? Did that constitutionally get changed?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it didn't, then none of this matters.
Okay. So, yeah, anybody else?
Outcome of the last AG, like what because there was a vote.
Just for that back.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe if you would allow me then, in terms of what I do recall from the last SGM, because the Constitution wasn't changed yet or amended yet, the constitutional clause wasn't effected yet, the membership felt that everybody should stand for a new vote. Okay, lovely. Catching up. Welcome, welcome.
Isn't that you 3 minutes ago?
I think that's the question.
It's a slight delay.
Yeah.
You can answer.
Okay, no.
We just now asked.
No. So, okay. I think, yeah. So, what did we walk away with from the last AGM/SGM? So there's two things. Okay, so there was the SGM we had after the AGM. As far as I do recall, at the AGM, we were still discussing extending the board tenure to coincide or to reflect the NFC's tenure. That conversation was ongoing. But by the time the SGM happened, because I think by that time we lapsed, the board's term lapsed. And physically or technically speaking, we didn't have a standing board at that time. The SGM then decided then everybody should stand for re-election again. As I personally understood, that re-election process is the same board members go up, but then we had, not even including some additionals, but we opened it up to the membership, whoever wanted to participate. So when I'm saying not even including some additionals, because then we did ask for nominations. I think we only got 2 that were accepted, which was Jackson and Georgina. Yeah. But we also had 2 resignations on the board. Yes. So now we were kind of stuck in terms of, can we have a vote? Do we even have a board constituted at this stage? And then what was then decided, or what I then asked for, is that there's a constitutional clause that says the board can fill vacancies, should such a vacancy arise until the next SGM or the AGM. Thus, Jackson and Georgina got conferred into the 2 vacant board positions. We at that stage did not decide on portfolios yet. And then at the first sitting of the board meeting, that's when the vote or the suggestion for the vote then came up that we have a vote in terms of the board positions. Now, this is where I personally then said, no, okay, guys, but wait a minute. If we're doing this does not constitute the type of continuity we were discussing in terms of extending the board's tenure. This is technically speaking now a new board. So in terms of the mandate that we got from the members, I think it's confused. And my basic suggestion was that before we confer this or push this process any further, let's go back to the membership and find out from them what they viewed as continuity or what they had in mind when we talked of a board tenure extension. So obviously, I think the rest, after that, it became very lively. So I think some of you might have been informed or aware of that. But so that's the bit of background that I can give. I don't know where we will start. Yeah, Vixen?
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe that was a short version of what actually has transpired. Look, I cannot speak outside of the minutes. Everything, the procedure was documented through minuting, and even a notice that went out to the members confirming the 2 people that were left of the nominations. The last SGM or whatever meeting that we had, where the decision was taken that yes, the board, the constitution is not going to be changed for the current board to extend the tenure. However, people had then suggested that there will be like nominations put forward, and I think there were about 7 new nominations on top of the board, who also had put themselves forward to be in the run for those positions. Everybody had something to say here when that proposal came up. We had to present our case why we want to continue. And that's where the 2 members, Ina and Esther, then indicated, no, we are not willing to continue, you know. But even if they had not declined, people were still going to be added to that, and everybody was still free to avail themselves. And people did. There were names. I think Sophie was also nominated, and then she turned it down, I think, plus others. And now the two people that remained, it was Jackson and Georgina, yeah. So then after that, I think it was 2 weeks that passed, and like, okay, what are we going to do? We say, okay, guys, at the board level now, we have 2 people that are available. There are 2 vacancies on the board now. So meaning that in the absence of a voting and of the nominees, of which the majority has declined, we confirm then those people to make 7 board portfolios that are there. Now, as tradition, whenever there is a new board, because then to some of us this is a new board because of that the dynamics of 2 vacancies and then they were filled and so on. Shall we now look at the portfolios because even according to the Constitution, after such a round of, sorry guys, I was just walking, but after such a round of nominations and then voting, the board then sit and say, guys, who are we going to make chairperson? Who are we going to make vice chairperson, secretary? Those are I think the positions that are there is chairperson, secretary, treasurer. Those are in the Constitution. But it has been tradition that everybody then, the board vote at board level who they want to be led by. And I think this thing also, maybe it has to be looked at because chairperson doesn't mean executive chairperson or what. Their role is to, to chair over meetings and so on, to be kind of a head of a, yeah. So that for those procedures, it doesn't mean that it's executive, that they have executive powers. Nobody is more FEN than anybody at FEN, the way I understand it. So it was then, yes, okay, fine. We are going to follow that process then. We are going to vote for portfolios. We are going to nominate people to portfolios, and then we are going to vote accordingly. We deliberated about it. It was agreed. We put it to a vote. 5 people voted, for that, or 6. I'm not sure. The minutes are there. I'm sure the administrator can vouch for that. Yeah. So then we voted. Okay, fine. We nominated people. The next day we are going to vote, and that's when I think it was about 40 minutes before voting starts or voting closes. Then the surprise came. Guys, this is not procedural. It's not according to what people said, the continuity and all that. So I will not go into the details of continuity and arguing against or for, but that's what happened. I mean, and everything is mandated. That's Matic.
Can I? I just, so what I hear is there was the SGM where the members endorsed a continuity, and then it went back to Constitution, which hadn't changed yet. And then according to the Constitution, the board was reshuffled. So for me, the easiest way to find a solution with this is actually the members need to vote the board. That's it, because that's what the Constitution requires, right? And the Constitution hasn't been amended.
The Constitution says, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe go with it. Yeah, I think maybe you misunderstood me there. The tradition and the Constitution of FEN, it's not members that vote for the board, the portfolios at board level.
We vote
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah.
There's 7 people we vote for as members.
As members, okay,
We don't say that they are that,
yeah.
but we say those 7 people are the board.
Yeah,
That hasn't happened this year.
no, it has. There was a notice. no, hang on. If I'm wrong, of course I will be proven wrong. I wanted the administrator to go to that notice. I think it's a notice that went out to the members and say, we, in the absence of a vote now, of an official vote that was supposed to happen and did not happen, we are hereby confirming these 7 people, the 5 remaining board members, current board members, and then the 2 additionals, who is Jackson and Georgina. That notice did go out. It went out to the members as confirming those 7 people.
But it's...
If she can find it, I can also try and find it.
Like it wasn't constitutional.
Okay, hold up. Rather than this becoming a two-way conversation, let's get somebody else, so other people involved in the conversation. Angelo, you were part of this process. It would be helpful if you shared your thoughts or your views. Where's the mic? Don't you have it? There's the mic.
No, there's the mic. Okay. Okay, from what happened, we all went to a point where we were told, okay, we have to reshuffle. At some point, I was in agreement and later on realized the reshuffling, but why are we doing the reshuffling? I kept asking that question until I exhausted the point where I didn't get any answer to it. The only answer I could get from Mr. Vixen was constitutionally. We agreed. But constitutionally also, if you want to reshuffle, you need to make members aware of if there was irregularity happened between, because the main positions that was supposed to be reshuffled was chairperson, vice chairperson. Those 2, Mr. Vixen and Armas wanted to reshuffle those 2. My question until today still stands. Why do you want to reshuffle the 2 people? Why do you want to remove them? Is there something they did you are aware of, we are not aware of? Make us aware of the deeds that they did wrong. Yet, that's where my resignation came afterwards, because I couldn't get anything from it and nothing was answered on that question.
I also don't have an answer to that question, but I think Tim's point is, because I mean, yes, so we are saying constitutionally, the board, those 7 people, once elected, they can reshuffle internally. So I don't know but the question is now, if that notice that FEN sent to say, okay, we just confirm them, does that actually count? Because technically, in the Constitution, it says we need, so because I think at the actual meeting we couldn't, because there were, of course, we didn't know yet who were the people, like, was there an actual vote? That is now the question. To say, not the board confirming themselves that these are now the members, but to say, okay, these 7 members, and then, I mean, of course, like, what would happen if the membership says, no, we don't confirm? But, okay, that's another problem. But sort of like a technical, yes, we as the membership confirm these 7 people. Because I think that is his question, not even about the reshuffling, but so like a step before that, like, is it actually, would first the membership have to confirm these people in a vote as per the Constitution?
Can you use your laptop? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so what we're basically looking at is maybe to get those constitutional clauses up there so we all can study them and look at them for what they are rather than conjecting. My understanding of that particular part of the Constitution is it starts at 6.1, it's section 6 under the Constitution. 6.1 clearly says that the board will be elected at an AGM by the members. In this case, there was no such election because we didn't have we didn't have enough people to actually have an election, we kind of got stuck. And this is where I think, I'm not sure about the exact constitutional clause where it then refers to that should a vacancy arises on the board, that the board then has the authority to fill such vacancy until the next SGM or AGM, which was basically how we got to the position that we were, which then, in my view, made this reshuffle, number one, unconstitutional to start off with, but also in terms of the discussions, the ongoing discussions that we had over various SGMs and both the AGMs that we've had thus far. We did say that clearly, that we wanted to have a 10-year extension of the board. And unless I'm completely wrong about that, I was thinking about this board, the current serving board, rather than a new board and then extending the tenure for them. That wasn't what we discussed as a membership. But be that as it may, the breakdown for me ultimately happens when we refused, or when certain people, Vixen being part of that, decided not to bring that matter back to the members, to rather push through the board reshuffle and then to announce it to the members. I mean, that for me that's really where, literally what it did to FAN is it technically paralyzed the board for about 2 months now. We couldn't move in unison. Because now suddenly look at the practicalities of it. Now you have two chairpersons. You have 2 secretaries. You don't have a treasurer. You don't. It's ridiculous. So technically speaking, we didn't have a board at that stage. The only place that a board could be conferred or authorized is through membership vote. So yes, I do agree with what both Sophie and Tim then said. And I think this is ultimately how we get to where we are today. Vixen, please.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm taking this very easy. I hear a lot of crucifies this, Vixen did that, Vixen did that, which is very, very far from the truth. That's why I like documents, and I'm referring to this document that went out from this board, you know. I assume everybody has seen this. And it says that it's dated 15 August, and a memorandum that went to the FEN members. Now, whether people have ignored on this memorandum, or they have chose not to look at it, and now waking up to, because now of this mess, that is not my cup of coffee. But however, it went out, and there was a time people were given, and I remember on the socials of the FEN, people be reminded, let's vote. How do we vote? All that process happened. I guess it is tradition, everybody was maybe too busy to look at it, or they just ignored it, but that's what it is. And that's when the board, collectively, I must say, not Vixen, not Byron, nor whoever, said, okay, fine, let's send out a memorandum to the members. And it reads, it said, dear FEN members, the Filmmakers Association of Namibia recently convened a special general meeting of that voting will be concluded online. However, following the nominations process, only 2 confirmed and seconded nominees were received in addition to the existing board members. We wish, therefore, to inform you that 2 current board members, Ms. Esther Bieges, and we now counting ourselves as a new board. Now, the thing that Angelo, my friend Angelo, saying that I forced, or myself and Armas forced the chairperson and the vice chairperson to be reshuffled is now void of truth. Nothing like that happened. We all agreed, and the minutes, I just wish really the administrator can produce those minutes, and including the people that voted. If then that is Vixen Hangula who said that everything must be resolved, what power did Vixen Hangula have over 7 people? The minutes are there. Let's read the minutes if need be.
Sorry. Thank you for drawing our attention to this document, but there's a very important paragraph in this, which is this decision allows the association to conclude the long-delayed election process. That's the sentence that matters. That election, so all it did is it allowed the board to facilitate elections for board members. That's what this is. So it's not that now the board is serving another year. It literally means you have the power to facilitate the election for the new board. That's what this is.
Can you read that? This is the thing again, please?
It's here. It's in the document. This decision allows the association to conclude the long-delayed election process.
Which is, it refers to that particular delayed, after the nomination.
Board election, yeah. But no member has voted for the board this year.
Okay. Please, there's a hand up there.
I think we are just doing too much banter and back and forth, and we don't have time for that. Like, just conclude. Like, first question was asked, who asked for the reshuffle and why? Was not answered. Let's move on, because obviously we can't get that answer. We're here to now because I get frustrated when I look at FAN, because I used to serve on FAN as a board member. And usually what happens is that there's actually people who want to say something, but they've never served. And once they get that position, they don't activate that thing. So I feel like we're going to be doing, we've got so much to go through. We cannot be doing who said what, when what. That is not, it's not for us. We don't, not conversation, I feel like where we are at now is, do we have a quorum to even have a conversation about those conversations? No. Then that means that we skip to the next one because we don't have any power. So it's wasting time. We cannot talk about things we can't change right now.
Okay, just on that, I do believe we are currently a quorum. We can just double check that constitutionally. Vixen, Yellow, yeah.
Oh, we're quorum.
Real people online.
Great.
So then suddenly we actually in a position to
now
make decisions.
Now we can have a conversation about, are we voting for the new members? So we can, those are conversations I want to hear. Are we voting? Who's up for nominations? And can we get those people in the room? That's it. If we cannot, let's move on to the next thing. We've got big things to deal with.
Okay, that is a very good point made there, that we would try and conclude this.
We cannot do back and forth. Like, we're not doing banters. Let's just move on.
Okay. Now, I understand in terms of what you're saying there and what you do require, but is it clear for the rest of the members, and are we all in agreement that we should move on to possibly then a vote, which would probably, you can help me phrase it, but we should probably then vote on whether we are annulling whatever board decisions were made and people conferred with the assumption that there should be an election for a new board, for a FAN board. And that process in itself would then, that's another process in itself. Yeah. We could possibly do that at this very meeting, if we so choose.
The special, GM, because it's not the AGM. So we're here to fix things. So let's fix it.
Fix that particular part.
And move on.
Okay. I stand to be advised as to how we progress further with that, unless there's any other objections or comments from members in the audience. Or online. Online? Online, they are commenting. Okay, it is cutting, she said. Georgina says, I don't think we should spend precious time on what happened and who said what. Can we discuss the next steps and resolve and re-vote if required? So there we also have a confirmation of exactly what you said there. So basically a re-vote for board positions. That's what's coming up. So to start off with, that would... Yeah.
Even if it's just a technicality to say that, like, put all these 7 members just even technically, like, that basically, that just for technicality, we should have just actually have a vote, even if we know, yes, if there's 7 members, it's not much of a vote, but then technically, and then of course, though, going forward, yes, it is within the right of the board then to reshuffle. If this board is elected, then yes, you can reshuffle.
How do other members feel about potential reshuffles after the vote?
constitution that we don't have to vote on.
Basically, what we're then saying is we technically voting for a brand new fan board. Technically. Nominations then, I think that's how that process would start, and then we can conclude it here. Okay. Any nominations? The floor is now open for nominations. Okay.
There we go. Nominate you for chairperson. Nominate for that.
Yeah, that's got to be inside the board. So wait. Okay, maybe I should then make the other suggestion, because there is also the possibility that the membership can confer or endorse the continuity of the previous board, if you so choose.
As per constitution?
No.
How? No.
Oh, you mean to change the, I mean, we are not normally voting on who will be in which position.
Yes.
So that is not necessarily in the constitution, but what we should have done, or what we should do is, even if those 7 members, we would put up those 7, So if those 7 potential board members, and I don't know if now at this meeting we would have another person that would come forward, would still be standing for election for a board, for the fan board.
Yeah, because that becomes a question now, in terms of those nominees. But
because they were nominated. We had a meeting, they were nominated, just that of course there were more people nominated and we couldn't conclude the actual vote. So there wasn't any election. And yes, there were also additional people nominated that turned down or said, no, I've done it, thank you. Or,
Okay.
Whatever. But so now we have those 7 that have actually agreed. And then there
That
will be
makes
the
it
question,
easier.
is there additional people? And also, are all these 7 still agreeing that they will be standing on the board?
okay. Yeah, let's start. So, of the previous board members, who still wish to stand or serve on the board?
I'm out.
What did you say?
I'm in. I need to finish a few things.
No. Okay, so, but it's somebody else answers first. My thing is this. Definitely in terms of continuity, I will definitely want to stand. But there's a few other things that me personally, Byron Joseph, would not be able to stand for if things get pushed through in the manner that they were pushed through in this particular case. So yes, if I stand, I would probably have to be in the chairperson. No, if I stand, it would be with the assumption of continuity, that we can continue with what we started, rather than starting from scratch with a brand new board. That's a totally, that's a waste of time. That's a different kettle of fish. Yeah.
But you can't have that guarantee, unfortunately.
It's fine.
Are you in?
Yes, I'm willing to stand. Yeah. Okay.
Guys, and
Are you in?
listen, I'm not your child, please. Just let's respect each other. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, okay, for me, and this is public, everybody can see that. I'm interested in seriousness. So conditions and conditionals, I don't know where they fit in. And this is exactly the point that I'm making. It is about people who want to hold on, and it is my way or it's not no way. And I'm saying that FAN is bigger than that. You know, nobody is here guaranteed for tomorrow or whatever. And I hope you guys are getting me right. So it has to be according to Constitution. The Constitution is key. We had, okay, let me not go there. So it is very disturbing to know and hear of the chairperson saying that, or so on, that I cannot have it other way. I am either a chairperson or not. Yeah, no, you talked about me there. You people, you and Angelo mentioned my name. Yeah, okay. So let me just finish. And that is the problem there. So it means then if you guys want to be part of the board, then you will have to toe my way. Otherwise, no. And that's what brought the problem. If it is a genuine, credible, fan-endorsed thing that we are doing to do things according to the Constitution, I am definitely in. I have no reason to run. I have nowhere to run to for no other reason. But these are the problem, and I think people will look at that.
Okay. There is a comment from Ina, who has asked, first of all, Angela, you can't step down now because, you're going to bring us more stress. And also he said, we've done this voting process already. What is the grounds for voting again? Yeah. No. It's just like the letter that Mr. Vixen read, right? Is that obviously because there weren't any new potential nominees apart from the two, we could not do a vote in any case. I think there's another comment from Panashe as well. He's saying the gray area is in the resignations, the new people who voted for them, etc. So for him, he's worried that people will now challenge the vote that was done. Let's start a new slate. The confusion is in the concept of continuity, which is gray. Let's have the process start from a clean slate. And then Ina says the issue was an issue of portfolios. We asked people to stand for nominations. I nominated Panashe and several other people were nominated and turned it down. And No Plot is saying, I recommend that if you stand to be voted in the board, it cannot be based on conditions. I agree with Vixen. Oh, Angela wanted to say something?
Yeah, if you want. Anybody else?
Can I just add?
Okay, you may.
Maybe something that we also did not, and it was mentioned in the Constitution, said that at this point we are in October. So, and then the Constitution says that should a vacancy occur on the thingy, the board actually has the right to fill that position until the next AGM.
Or SGM.
So, no, only AGM.
You can go there.
And I can stand for that. It's only AGM. The AGM, which has to be given anyway a chance for people to hand over, etc., etc.
Do you know which clause it is, sir? Definitions. I think...
6 point something.
Yeah, go to, I think it's 6.4.
No, is it 8 or something, or 9 maybe?
Oh, yeah, there it is, 6.8. Oh. Okay. The next annual general meeting. Okay, I stand to be corrected there. I'm pretty sure in the version I had it said SGM as well.
And that's only my other worry. We get emotional, we get excited, and I'm not referring to anybody. And then we overlook what the Constitution says. And what we can, to be assured of, things can get really messy if then people start demanding this or suing for this or for whatever. So please, let's just calm down and then look at these things and then really find an amicable solution for it.
Okay, thank you, Vixen.
Again, it's 11:17 and we're still talking about the same thing. So this is what happens. Now that we have decided, okay, now we're not doing continuity, we're getting new board members. Can we get the people in the room? We are a quorum. Can we nominate so we move on? Who's been nominated so we move? We have so many other things to talk about, guys.
Okay.
We're not talking about this all the time. Let's move on.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so I think, I think that point has been made there, that we should probably move on to a process of standing for basically a brand new election. Clean slate, not continuity, brand new board. Is the House in agreement with that? Just by show of hands, are we in agreement? Okay. Okay, no, it's. I think
No,
this
we
is the
do
most
need to, exactly,
serious
because
one.
the problem is then that's what we did last time, and then we said, let's postpone, and then they don't move on either, not really. So just quickly though, because of course the point was, yes, just as far as the constitution is concerned, we said, okay, normally the members are voted at an AGM. If there is vacancies on the board, yes, the board has the power to say that there is that they can basically fill these positions until the next AGM. There was now also so now we can call for an SGM. That's also somewhere in the constitution. This is an SGM, but the question was then, but do we actually vote new members at the SGM? If we don't, then we would have to assume that the current board, as it stands, with those 7 people, are the board. And if then we're not voting right now, so is the 7 board members? They are now our board until we have an. No, we wouldn't vote about it until we have an AGM. So that means like whenever we have the next AGM, that's when we vote. And until then, those 7 people are our board, and they must sort out who has which portfolio. Will they manage?
Yeah, because this is what we did last time, right? I feel like we're going 5 steps back, because this is exactly what we did at the last AGM, or was it SGM? So, if we've already agreed on the continuation of the current board, why are we going back on it? Is it because the board was not able to reshuffle properly internally? Now we're deciding to do a completely new vote? Or what is the main reason for actually having a complete new board?
I just want to add something to that before we take it further. I understand the need to get the conversation moving on. But that's exactly the thing. If we go for the clean slate argument, it doesn't quite work. Frankly, we've got 2 vacancies, or maybe 3 at this particular stage. It could possibly end up being 4. So you still won't have a board conferred. So that is the question. What was meant by continuity in terms of the current board continuing, or the 24-25 board continuing? For 25-26, technically speaking, there is no board because there was no election.
We have figured it out. There is no board. We have to get the next board at the AGM. We are here at the SGM. Knowing that now we know that we can continue. We just
Okay,
need
lovely.
to, I think for me,
Sorry, I have a question.
we already know.
Now we're getting to the crux of the matter. Okay, hold up. We have.
What was the question there?
My brother, since we've got somebody on the phone.
Let's give them.
Let's quickly give that person a chance and then we'll go after that.
Ina, you can speak.
All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Sorry, my issue with the steps we're taking now is that I still feel like I'm not clear on what the grounds are for nullifying the previous voting process. Because like our board tenure was voted, it was via WhatsApp. It was essentially Vixen's effort, putting everyone together and mobilizing and saying, hey guys, FAN doesn't exist. We need to kick FAN off again. And then people nominated people who they expected to stand. Then there was a voting process, and we were voted in as a board. That was all done on WhatsApp, Google Forms, blah, blah, blah. We accepted it. We had another voting process that was clear as day to everyone on the WhatsApp group. We asked for nominations. People were being nominated. I don't know if it was like a day or like a 2-day process where everyone was aware of what was going on. Everybody was talking a good game, but then nobody wanted to stand for nominations eventually. Like we only had I think it was 2 or 3 people who were 2 people who were nominated who accepted it. Everybody else was like, nah, I'm busy, I can't do it. And they basically filled the roles that Esther and myself stepped down from. Then the board who already existed nominated themselves. So that counts as a nomination. And then voted themselves in and said, okay, I'll stay on. Everybody else was like, all right, it's cool, we've accepted. So, and that all happened on WhatsApp. And those who were not on WhatsApp were made aware or whatever. But we accepted it. Now, because everybody or most people in that room or everybody else has been sort of out of the loop, going about their daily lives. Now they hear, oh, there's beef. Oh, it was this, the board couldn't agree on portfolio, who's in what portfolio. Okay, let's just start again. That's not how things work. We had a voting process. The issue the reason this meeting was convened is because there was beef in the portfolio assignments, like who's in what portfolio or how that worked. Or in the previous meeting, we agreed that there'll be continuation, and that continuation meant the portfolios continuing. So that's where the beef arose, not in like who's been nominated to the board per se, because we've been through this process. Even Panache is saying him and Leon vote for, let's start a clean slate. I disagree. I nominated him. He couldn't take it. I nominated someone else. That person couldn't take it. We've been through this process. Why are we doing it again? Sorry, my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm a relatively new member, so I'm still trying to catch up based on most of the knowledge that I have is through conversations and then I guess the WhatsApp. As Ino was mentioning that there was there an actual consensus, as you were saying, there was people were okay with the process that was undertaken in getting the new board, and was it constitutional? And if it wasn't, would voting now in an SGM be constitutional? And is there a consensus?
Or could the current board figure out internally the portfolios is the question. Is this something that can be solved? Like, how can we solve this? As a board, yeah.
Yeah, I think that you nailed it, Sophie. I mean, that is the question. It's again a thing. Do the board have the right to, decide among themselves who gets what portfolio? I think that's. I just wanted to build on that. Yeah, that's a definitely yes. So, what a part of that? What is the process that people don't agree with? Was it? Was it wrong to nominate among themselves? No, because it was also demonstrated when all the members actually agreed to that process of what is now called a reshuffle, which is not a reshuffle, it's just a traditional process that always takes place. Now, for me, and I know there are people that are respected, that has been part of FAN since time immemorial, Tim, who's sitting next to me, being one of them. I would say, if I was out of this question, or somebody would have asked to say, guys, we have a problem in our organization. Can we have a advisory board, maybe chosen from among the members, to scrutinize this thing, to investigate, and then say, this is what this committee comes up with, almost like an inquiry or the commission of inquiry into this thing for the next 2-3 weeks. Then, yeah. No, not at this meeting. I don't think not at this meeting as it is. The detenders are already formed. The alliances are already formed. I don't think that is going to be at this meeting. But what I'm advocating for is maybe really to take wisdom and say, let's have a 3-member committee that will look at this thing, that people can make presentation to, that the Vixen Angula so-called camp can make presentations to, that the Shuna and the Byron part side also make their presentations, and then something comes out of this. That's what I would think we'll do.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Esther? We've got Esther on the phone.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Apologies that I wasn't able to join earlier. Initially I had agreed with the idea of a clean slate, but so many points have just been raised about the fact that we actually did try. We've really made all the efforts with regards to getting a new board put together. We had only 2 nominees that agreed to stand. So I think the idea of having some type of advisory committee that can sit and just follow the paper trail, look at where everything is and what's happening, and then advise on next steps. I think that really is, in my opinion, the best way forward.
I have one note.
Okay.
If I may.
The problem is not so easy to solve.
Yeah. I have a big question. Yeah. Can you guys, as those that serve on the board actually make the board work. Isn't that what it all begins
So
and end with?
If
you can't, then
Okay.
it's clear we have to reboot.
Yeah. So for me, the question was always continuity. What is supposed to continue? The fact that there is a fan board, or the fact that we want the 24-25 board to continue? For me, that constituted the whole thing. It constitutes continuity, i.e. this particular board, as it's constituted, continuing going forward. Also in terms of what was said now in terms of the Constitution and what's constitutional or not, the fact remains there was no vote, i.e. elections for a new board. Technically speaking, the people serving now are still the old board who conferred or filled up 2 vacancies. This, in my view, makes the idea or the need for a reshuffle null and void. But now quickly to rephrase. So if you're going to have a reshuffle, if you're going to have a new board, new chairperson, new whatever, and all these portfolios, what then becomes, I think traditionally, the chairperson is then technically supposed to step down or to vacate. Yeah, to give the new chairperson the chance to do whatever he's supposed to do. That already, for me, goes against the grain of continuity as we agreed. So I think for me, the bigger question is, do we stick with the old board as it was, fill the vacancies that arose, i.e. based on the clause that is standing there until the next AGM, or do we reconstitute the board portfolios? And the only way that that could be done is by going through the constitutional election process, starting at 1, where there needs to be a vote. But it...
And also, I'm trying to also avoid that stagnation, right? If we now decide to take another 2 to 3 weeks to find an advisory committee that's going to look at the paper trail, look at the minutes, it's more time that we're wasting. Personally, for me, the past 2 months already, the past month, there's nothing that has been happening around FAN because of this issue. Now we're going to give it another, probably a month, you know, to now come up with, oh, who's serving as what at FAN and who is the FAN board. There are certain emails I have not been able to respond to because I just don't know what my position is. So while I agree with the advisory board, I think moving forward in future for future issues, that can definitely be something that we need to do. But as for this issue, I think it would be great if we could sort it out today. So if, for me personally, if everybody does agree on the current board, I think we just need to now make sure that, or maybe I think this is now where actually the members were supposed to assist us with today in terms of the portfolio selection, right? And it's not to point fingers, it's not to say who did what, who said what. The other day, the minutes, I don't think that's sort of like going to help us, especially, you know, given the time element. So I think obviously we do, myself and Byron, and I think as well at some point Angelo, we were not for the reshuffle, but because majority of the board, there was a quorum, 4 members against 3 members wanted a reshuffle. So we had to, okay, the majority. So now that's how we got here, right? So it's not a thing of us wanting to stay or wanting to hold on to certain titles. It's just a continuation issue.
Look, so can we quickly structure what we are voting for now? Yeah? Yeah, so I would then say the point that I'm pushing for here, or the one that I'm putting forward to the members, is that when we said continuity, we were talking about the 24-25 FAN board. So my suggestion is, can we vote as members to keep that board intact, meaning that the internal board reshuffle is not, it's not necessary because it's not constitutional, i.e. it's still the same old board continuing. If then, I think the second option would then be, if we want to have a completely new board, we then have to follow the constitutional process. I don't think there's a way of avoiding that.
Is that a question to vote?
No, I'm asking us to structure what we will vote on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I propose two things. I propose two things. So my proposition for the vote is keep the board intact, 24-25, as it was. Portfolios, everything. If you want a new board with new portfolios, have a re-election.
Excuse me, just hang on. Okay, it's always the issue of continuity. Maybe we should for 1 minute unpack that. Look, Mr. Pulse, this is the first meeting that I see you here, and some of us have been, so please. Yeah. Okay, I'm not listening to you right now, so you don't have a mic, but I have the mic. However, what I was saying is that, yeah, thank you for the protection. Yeah, so my question is still, since we are all for fairness, can we at least, so that you can also motivate your point, can we look at the issue of continuity, when and how it was brought upon, what it was actually meant with that, and then just read it, because all this was documented. All this was documented. Well, you just get the mic, yeah? But what I'm saying is that just so that we can go there, it's a proposal that I'm putting to the meeting. Yeah, but what is meant by continuity, and maybe just take us to the minutes so that everybody can understand then the importance of that continuity and what it actually entails.
Are we voting on it?
What are we voting on?
Okay. Let's get to a step where we really will know why. Okay. May I ask? If I may ask, Mr. Vixen, I have a question. Are you not happy with the 24-25 board with their structures? And if not, give us reasons why you're not happy. Because it sounds like you still want to take things back to your way, or how the Constitution should be, or how we should follow the Constitution. Sophie asked, amongst the current board, and I will say the current board is the 24-25 board members, can you sort it out amongst yourself? I think that is actually the easiest way that we can move on to the next point. It sounds like you are not happy with it. So, if not, give us points to why you're not happy with the current structure of the 24-25.
That's me spitting out your words that you put in my mouth. So your question is that am I not happy with your 24? Who said that I was not happy with anything? What hang on, you hit your floor. Let me tell you my position. My position is and will always be the Constitution that we followed until the spanner was thrown into the wheels. Now, that's where you do not want me to go to. Okay, no, that's fine. That's what you're saying. However, for me, and that's why I'm again asking for minutes, documentations, I want to speak backed up by documentation proof. And I had put my documentation proof there. I produced a document that we sent there. There's even minutes of the first board meeting. If people are truthful, then we can ask for those minutes to be read, where we all agreed. So if you ask me, am I not happy with that? What makes the people to change their mind on something, a process that they started?
Ina wants to say something. Ina, go. We have to start concluding. Ina, quickly.
Sorry, my last point. I think I've tried to collate or put together what I think everyone's kind of saying. I think the asking for a new board is essentially, or a new election is kind of like a vote of no confidence, in my opinion. And that's sort of what, in the chat, we see it as. So that's a vote of no confidence in the current board, and we would like to have elections. So it's not like redoing what we just did. It's basically saying, yes, the board was elected, but it's a vote of no confidence. That's one. Sophie asked the question whether the board can work together. I just wanted to make a point there that when we had the previous tenure, we also had issues like this. It's not seamless. We had like serious beef. I think the beef was even worse than this. But like we stuck it out. People were able to figure each other out, and by the end of the day, we were like a happy family. So I think we shouldn't look at the beef that's happening now as a reflection of whether a board can work together or not, because we've had worse beef and we've figured it out. My next point is I do think I have to agree with Vixen. I think it's important that we have, and Panache mentioned like a legal person, an advisor and a legal person advise on this, because everyone's making valid points here. Vixen has asked that we go back to the minutes. I think we even saved a video of the meeting where a lot of these things were discussed, continuity, all of that. Madge can advise. But it becomes an advisor's role to look at all that stuff, see what was said, follow the paper trail, bring all the parties to the table, and then objectively assess the situation, and then come back to the membership and I guess come up with a decision or something.
Okay, but Ina, we spoke about that because we said that it's anti-progressive because it's gonna take more time to do that. We're gonna be sitting here for another month.
Can I finish? Let me finish real quick.
Okay.
You said that, and I disagree.
Okay.
We've lost a lot of time, but you still need that time in order to put this thing to bed. You're not gonna run through this. It's such a complex issue. There's emotions involved. There's people's opinions involved. There's what people think should happen. You need to bring in an outside party to objectively look at things, and you need to give that time. We can't say, oh, because it's going to take time, let's cause more beef by rushing through it. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
I also have 2 cents. I honestly also have 2 cents. That this matter has been going on for 3 months now. If you add more time to it, I think by all practical intents and purposes, I think the organization is duly put to bed or to rest at that stage. I think the reason why we call this SGM is to resolve this matter today. So I have to agree with other members in the room that feel that we should be moving this thing to a vote. As to what that vote is, I think that's the overhanging question. Are we asking for continuity of the 24-25 board, or are we looking at a new board in terms of the constitutional process, 6.1, 6.3, 6.4, which then says that after the elections, the board, at their first sitting, will then have to decide on the portfolios. For me, those are the 2 clear processes here. There's no ways of getting around it. Either we stick with the old board, use that constitutional clause that says until the next AGM, we can fill the vacancies that occurred. But then it means it's the same board. Or if we want to do the whole reshuffle process, re-election thing, that is actually the question that is being posed to the membership today.
Can I speak?
Yes, you may, sir.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to apologize. But again, guys, no. We have minutes, right, for a reason, all right? In those minutes, if we needed to bring up issues, it should have been added in subsection AGM, board, vote this, yes, no. We are not discussing because we are not at the AGM. This is a special AGM. We do not have time to talk about people's feelings. We don't. We have to make decisions. I don't care if you're going to be doing what. We need to, if you bring up a point, and I'm going to be this guy, can we vote on it? We're a quorum. Can we vote on it and move on?
So
every time we bring up something, can we vote on it and move on? Because we are going to have
I hear what you're saying.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Because we're going to have back and forth about who said what, how we feeling. We don't have time for that. If you bring up a point in this special AGM, it's supposed to be a vote and not a conversation.
We are not here to have conversations. This is a special AGM. We're here to vote on things that need to change. If you say, oh, no, we're going to continuity, can we vote on it? If Vixen says, no, I want an advisory board, can we vote on it? Because that's how we do. We all have to say, yes, we want that. No, we don't. I'm not going to be out here listening to all of y'all do back and forth because I'm not serving on the board and it feels like it's an eternal issue with you guys. I am a fan member, and I need my board to know that when we get here, we are making decisions. It's almost 12, and we only have this place until 12. We have not even gone to all of the other stuff because we're still talking about petty issue. Let's vote. I keep on asking, are we a quorum? Yes. Every time we bring up something, can we vote on it? Yes.
Panashe wants to make a point. Yes, Panashe?
Yeah, sorry. So one of the reasons why my personal suggestion is to almost start as a clean slate is exactly that, right? The issues that are coming up are so deep rooted, and it sounds like it's so layered. If we try and run an inquiry to try and figure out what's going on, it will take us minimum 2 months. We'll get into December. We'll argue about who was selected on that committee, why were they selected, what makes them special, and we'll get into the new year and we'll still be arguing about this thing. So the reason for requesting that we start a new slate is to almost remove this conversation around continuity, because it's so vague. Is continuity continuation of the board? Is it continuation of the board with their portfolios? And if the members are requesting for that, are the members even allowed to request for it? Because from the Constitution, that's a decision made by the board as far as who's doing what portfolio. And obviously we then have resignations. Were they before? Were they after the election was done? Was that election constitutional? Given that there's people that were actually not even available to sit for certain positions. So in my mind, just to save us time so that we don't go back and forth again, I'm saying you start a clean slate. You don't have any baggage from continuity, baggage from previous portfolios, baggage from everything, and you say, guys, let's run from scratch from the onset. And then maybe right from the beginning, we have a team that's actually supporting this election process so that the people that are sitting in these various portfolios are not too close to the fire, because I think a lot of the things we're hearing about them much later on, that no, the board has decided this and this and this and this is not the way forward. I so submit.
Okay, so can we maybe vote on this potential option? This is option 1 that we're voting for, which is to have a brand new election. Option 2 is to have an advisory committee that takes this matter further up. Okay, and then is there any other third option? Is there any other third suggestion?
The suggestion was always that we keep with the 24-25.
Okay, and then the option 3 is to keep the board, to keep the board as is with the. Yeah, because I mean the third option is a little bit tricky because we're only 6 board members. We'd have to possibly add or nominate, or we can also do that. Okay, cool. So those are the 3 options.
The other one with the vote, the boards, they are elected at AGM. Not SGMs.
So, are you proposing that we cannot have an election today because this is an SGM?
I'm saying that let's make sure of the Constitution, because that can come back to us. If the Constitution says only at the AGMs, well, the AGM is May 26th.
So what does that mean?
So be sure.
We might not be able to vote on a new board, but we can vote whether or not we're going to do like
Sorry. Just another question. So, if we vote, a no confidence into the board, does that mean new elections?
No, that means that the person who
We
brought
have to look at the constitution. Everything is, for me, is always the constitution.
Because if you have no confidence, the person who has brought the no confidence has to bring the proof it's no confidence. Because they don't have to prove anything. The person who brought no confidence has to prove everything.
Okay, thank you.
So, are we voting on something?
Okay, all right. The Constitution.
There's only two options that I can clearly see.
Okay. The question on the voting under point 6, it says that the Board of Trustees shall be elected at the annual general meeting. The Board of Trustees shall be entitled to act on behalf. Okay, that's yeah. So it just says, should a vacancy arise, we've already gone through that point. So it says that a board can be elected at an AGM.
Only.
So it doesn't say only. That's why there are so many loopholes in the Constitution.
Okay, yes, we are a quorum. So now, in terms of the options before us, what do the members prefer? One, that we have continuity in terms of the 24-25 board, filling vacancies and continuing until the next AGM with associated portfolios. Okay, so that's the one option. We stick to 24-25 board with associated portfolios, fill the vacancies that arose as per constitution. Or two, do we go to a brand new re-election process? Okay, so those are the two votes before the members right now. Okay?
Because would you say, yes, you wanted the board exactly as it was, so we had an AGM, we had a vote, we didn't have actually, then the actually 2 members stepped down, so you consider this a completely new, I mean, your problem is it a new board or not? You couldn't figure this out internally. You consider it not a new board, you just filled vacancy as you are allowed to until the next AGM, which is in May.
But there's a quick answer to whether this is a new board or not. The basic answer is no. There was no elections. There is no new board. We filled 2 vacancies. The old board filled 2 vacancies. So there's no confusion about that. Yes, but okay.
Can we vote on something, guys?
Michael, we are getting to your no. You cannot interrupt Sophie as well. We also have to respect other members. Yes.
Yes, the question is on point. Thank you.
Yes. So, once again, let's go back. So, to keep the first vote or the first option to the members is to keep the board with associated portfolios as is and fill the 2 vacancies, which I believe is completely constitutional. Or if we want a new board with new portfolios, then we will need to reinstitute a re-election process or a new election process.
But the question, yeah. So, but is it like that's now the question, because cannot his or whoever else's position was, well, if we have a board until the next AGM and we want to reshuffle, and if the majority wanted to reshuffle, technically, is that can you do it or not? I mean, technically, it's within the board to reshuffle. A decision within the board. And now the question, but now you are at a deadlock because you don't all agree that there should have been a reshuffle.
The question at hand is whether the board was elected. The board was not elected. If the board is elected, you can do the appointing of portfolios, etc., etc. Because we did not have an election, technically speaking, there is no board.
Why was there no election?
Nobody voted. That's how elections go, isn't it?
The election was there, but nobody voted. So people were confirmed.
No. Okay, so that's where that misunderstanding comes.
No, we must. Sorry. I think in terms of fairness, we must add a third option to the election process. So number 1, board 2024-2025 with associated portfolios voted by the members. Option 2 was what? Completely new slate. Option 3, endorse the board as is and let them decide on themselves, on their portfolios. That's essentially what I see.
Okay, so can we? Yeah,
points.
can we do that?
And then now the
vote
question
now?
is: do we accept those as the election points, or are we gonna go back and say this was unconstitutional? This cannot go forward, because then everything was null and void.
And if we do go for option 3, then the people, the 7 people, then they cannot say, but no. You can't then say, I'm only going to stand if I am the chairperson. Because if you say that, then you make the third option impossible.
But I think there's a lot of implications for that option 3.
No, exactly. But
Yeah, there's a lot. So I personally wouldn't put it there. I just want to see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying personally.
Yes.
Yeah. So up to the membership. I think it's whether we're going with a new board or we're sticking to the old board. That's a simple question here.
No, and the third option is the advisory.
Oh, the advisor.
That's fourth option.
Oh, that one. That's the fourth then. Okay. Okay, are we noting these options, Yalo?
Yes, so...
I think because after this it's just...
Let's give her the mic so that the people online can also confirm if these are...
I'll just have, okay. So there's an option for a new board, an option to endorse the board, and then another option to keep the board as is with associated portfolio and fill the vacant position. So as is now 2024 to 2025. And then the fourth one is an advisory committee.
Okay. Can you send those to me on WhatsApp? And like just send it to the WhatsApp.
Okay.
I can send it to the members online. Yeah, the ones online, I'm sending them the options now. Yes, yeah.
Are you sharing it on WhatsApp or in the WhatsApp group or on the
So I think with YouTube, once you, how do you suggest I do that? Should I do a poll?
WhatsApp poll.
Should I do a WhatsApp poll? Okay.
All 4 options, you must put a deadline to that.
Please do, because people come late at 5 and I can vote.
Okay, so I think we can push this, like, it's 12 o'clock now, so can we push it until 12? It's the entire process.
To this meeting, you mean?
This meeting.
The meeting, yeah, but not the voting.
Needs to end in the next few minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, we vote, yeah.
Well, you say once the poll is live, and then we can do the in-room voting. No, please. Thank you.
Okay, so you're putting down the poll on WhatsApp, no? Create the poll on the members.
As soon as it's on.
What were the?
Vote in the room, you don't vote on the poll.
Yeah, let's just be clear. Oh, we are all here. We can actually just vote
Yeah,
on the poll.
People, yeah, people, please, by show of hands, we will vote inside.
Okay.
It's only for the guys online.
Okay, got you. So the voting will, the one that.
Mr. Tim, kindly just clarify for me, like the endorsement. The second option, you said the endorsement of the board. With associated portfolios.
With pre-existing portfolios.
So,
It's one vote. Okay. Do we understand when we say the current vote 2024-2025? Are we including Ina and Esther?
Yes.
No.
No, wait. Let me explain. Because they resigned, vacancies. We got vacancies on that board, isn't it? That's only. I mean, they didn't even resign. They just didn't stand for re-election, technically speaking. Yeah.
So it will be those people that are there.
Okay. Meaning that Georgina and Thingy are out. Will not be on the board.
Technically speaking, we'll have to fill up those vacancies, reappoint them in those vacancies.
Wow.
If that would be the option for the members.
Yeah.
And then, so Ina, Esther, and Angelo off. There are only 4 then left.
So in terms of that, the option was for continuity of the 24-25 board, period. We don't, with associated portfolios, as it's written there.
As they are. So meaning there are 4 board members now.
The other option would be same, but with reshuffling and your reappointments, but reshuffling the positions. That is another option.
There's a comment from Panache who said that he's worried about some of the 4 options. They essentially allow the members to select portfolios.
Which is unconstitutional.
They
So the vote is not about the portfolios. It's continuity of the old board, filling 2 vacancies, yeah, or a new board. That's how simple it is.
yeah, but he's saying that
Unfortunately, it isn't because otherwise you guys would be okay, right? Because you have been continuing. You are on that board.
we can't hit him online.
Let me try and clarify the point. Look, so the portfolios get decided by the board.
Can we check what would be the 4 options in NSA?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Okay.
So the thing of the portfolios, only come into effect once there has been an election. Now, the point is there was no election. What we're talking about, and even if you talk about the vacancies that arose, that means an existing board, not a new board, an existing board filled up those vacancies. And that's the basic point that I'm making. Am I making a bit better sense? Okay. Please go again with the options. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm also a bit confused. All right, so the first option is a new board, completely new slate. And then the second one is now the endorsement of the board with associated portfolios, the pre-existing. Now, my confusion is with the second and the third one, because the third one says keep board as is with associated and fill vacant positions. So 2 and 3 are more the same thing. Yes. And then, okay, so since those 2 will be the same, so that's the second one. And then the third one will now be to create an advisory committee to allow further investigation. Yeah, they are the ones that are similar.
No, but the one was whether the portfolios need to stay exactly the same. So ultimately, it means is the chairperson from the previous board the chairperson, or sorry, I know.
Here.
Or
No, they are back. We are back online
Back.
now.
The difference was, therefore, we need to be clear whether or not basically the chairperson of the previous board is the same chairperson, the treasurer is the same treasurer, and they are just adding people in the positions that were empty, or these now 7 people that are there can reshuffle, and they can also internally decide on a new chairperson, a new treasurer, on new portfolios, basically. That is the if they allow that, and then Panash's point was, are we then not actually interfering as members with deciding whether or not we are changing portfolios?
For me, if I can just answer that question, for me, that's actually why we're here today. It's because we were unable to do that. And that's internally we couldn't sort that out, so we asked the members to intervene. So I'm not so sure if that is constitutionally, does it allow for it or not, but these are, again, some loopholes within the Constitution. So, but I think it's only fair that if the board is not in agreement or can't come to an agreement on something, you defer it to the members. And that's what we are doing with the portfolio selections. I hope that answers Panash's question.
So I think if, it's on, it's on. Yeah, I think if there's an option to defer that decision to board member to members, so can we also refer that that deliberations to the committee that I've suggested.
There is no standing committee.
Yeah, no, the committee can come up. Yeah, the committee can come up. I mean, that's what we're saying.
Oh, you want to add it as a fourth option?
No, it's already there. It is already there. So that what he can avoid is partialities in of whatever. We can talk to. No, hang on, please. I don't know why you always silence me. No, please, come on, man. And I think the point number one that you are saying there, if it's a clean slate, it has to be done at the AGM, according to the Constitution. If you are talking about clean slate, it means that everybody, like Ina said, vote of no confidence, boom, everybody off, and then we wait for AGM to do that, meaning that there is not going to be a fan board. Number one, that's what I'm referring to. The other ones, I don't have a comment on.
Can we vote? Thank you. I'm just here waiting for us to vote. We have the options. We know what we let's stop discussing. We already know all of these things.
The second one, the endorsement of the board with associated portfolios, the pre-existing, that one, and the third one, which is keep board as is with associated, and without, okay. One is with, one is without. Yes, and then the other one is without. Okay. Yeah, and then the fourth one is advisory. Okay.
Literally.
That board that we have, and it's like, does it mean we need to have? It's basically that what you have tried to vote on internally, and then you didn't agree. Then when the breakdown happens, now we are voting as members whether or not you can reshuffle the portfolios or you cannot reshuffle the portfolios, or we need an outside whatever inquiry, advisory.
For me, there's a constitutional conundrum there. That's the thing that we are dancing around here, guys. So, for those positions, the portfolios, as we're talking about here, for them to be assigned, it means there is a new board that was elected. That's the process, constitutionally. 6.1 up to 6.
But the board has also constitutionally the right to reshuffle portfolios.
No.
And if you can't agree internally, you have now deferred this decision to the members. We're not saying which portfolios are which, but we're putting to a vote whether or not we are going to do that.
Okay, I think it's fair that you could put it to a vote. What I'm saying is that the options is actually much simpler than that. It's keeping the old board as is, associated portfolios, because I think that speaks to the issue of continuity. I think it still fits within the Constitution in that the old board fills vacancies that arose until the next AGM. Yeah, that's the option. Other than that, the only other option we really have as members constitutionally is to have a new election in which board members get elected, after which they can then assign the portfolios.
But you are at a deadlock because exactly that happened. You can, as a board, decide on
We didn't have elections.
reshuffling.
There wasn't a vote. That's
But
the
you
point.
had internally, as a board, an issue of whether or not you could vote. Whether or not you could vote, and you can't agree. So now that's why we're here.
Do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum?
Do we still have a quorum here, guys? By count? We should be. And how many online?
12. Wait. One. You're a fan member, right? But you, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
11. And
I don't know who else. Michael
Okay.
left. Michael left. If he left, he left.
Okay,
Um,
I'm online. Are you online as well? Yeah. Okay, so 3 of us are in the room.
I have proxy for parent.
So it's 10.
I say it's also a proxy for Ronald.
Okay, so it's.
So we are quorum.
We are quorum.
Okay, let's vote.
Let's vote.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, so by show of hands, this is the voting process.
And I will read it out. So the way I'm going to read it out is how, like the numbering will stay the same so that we're just clear. So the first one is a new board, completely new slate. The second one is to endorse board with associated portfolios and fill the vacant positions for 2025 to 2024 to 2025 until the next AGM. The third one is to keep board as is without associated portfolios. So the board should internally decide on who takes what portfolio. And then the fourth one is now to create an advisory committee to allow further investigation.
One vote per member.
Yes, I'll add it on the member group. I was just as a poll, just making sure that it's exactly.
How much time do they have, guys? 10 minutes, so until 12:22.
Okay,
So at 12:20 we shall have our
Will it not be easier if we then all do it on the WhatsApp group so that we don't have
Yeah.
funny people doubling up?
Oh, okay, cool.
Maybe
How do you feel
people have
about
already voted.
And I feel that I don't know what the rush is, but I mean, if it was for until the end of the day, where other people members who are not, could also be. Yeah, I was saying that. So I was saying that I don't know. I'm not sure about the rush. Why we have only a few minutes to vote on this one. I was going to propose that give people at least until the end of the day, those members who may want it to also participate in this. But that's just me.
I mean, I'll vote now.
Yeah.
Can we post the poll now? Can we put a
just
deadline?
because we had elections online, and it didn't happen because few people participated. Now we've got a room with people. With quorum. Let's do it.
So you are shutting out other people then?
But they are not here.
Why did you put them on the line, online, guys? Come on. What are we? But for online sake, why did you invite? It's fine, you can vote if whatever is your democratic right. What I need, yeah? Yeah, but what I'm, okay.
We're waiting for the poll.
I think online people would like to hear.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, we didn't even have a vote on that, guys. I'm also of the opinion the same as him. We have a quorum.
I think. But if you think of how we voted for the 24 board, it was also an online voting process where I think there was a...
Yeah.
Is it possible to vote on that? Should we vote on that? Let's vote on that. For the future.
Michael just wants to vote.
So are we voting on whether or not we are allowing until
5 o'clock or not?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's true. I'm also saying we should vote now. Who says now? By show of hands. We've got 2 already. 3 out. Please come.
And who is until 5 o'clock?
So we vote now. Okay, so the vote closes now.
So then put it in a group to say it was voted, but the voting
This is a movie, man.
But Michael, by now you must be very happy. We voted like 3 times in the last minute.
I'm so happy. Like we're voting on something. I can see the change already. Yes. What time is now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question.
Next 5 minutes.
12:30 at the very least then. Okay, let's be those guys. What's the time now?
Yeah, the content plan.
Okay, let's move on to the content plan. You're the only laptop here, guy. Okay, but everybody must have seen the document, yeah? Yeah, that we posted online, so I think the main reason was to get a yay or nay from the members in terms of pushing this forward with full members' endorsement. I just have to once again re-emphasize that that thing doesn't, it's not a standalone, it doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It does come from the process that we had in terms of the project, the position paper that we did, where we did the studies, desktop studies, we did polls and stuff. We came up with 2 programs as part of that process. The one was a triple P model, and the other one was this bottom-up, the National Content Creation Plan, trying to make content around all 14 regions, and also pushing for stuff like, for instance, TV series and SOPI. So that conversation has been ongoing. I think that document, as we shared it with the members, I think it's at its most refined point now, but we need to start moving it forward. However, I see that there was an announcement made by the ministry that they would support the film industry through, they call it content and distribution plan. If I read further, the content sounds the same because they talk about doing a national soap and they're doing TV series and short films or productions in all 14 regions. So I would assume that that is coming from our content plan. But as a fan board or even as an individual, we've never presented that to the minister. So we're actually quite curious as to how far, how did it get there? The furthest we went was NFC, because Florence, them were part of those discussions. With NFC, yeah.
Yeah, just for everybody's sake, it was posted by Vixen this morning in the group. The newspaper article was, what numbers will return in 2026? And in there, if you scroll down, it lists that element.
Yeah, drop an album. Yeah, okay, so we expect a few albums to be dropped. So, but basically, that's the current state of it. From what I understand, it's $20 million that they say they will dedicate to this program, which in itself, if you think about the 50 that they have, is a very huge chunk. It's showing a lot of faith in the film industry as such. Also, the way that we structured our program, at least, is that it goes, now it's at MISAC, the money, technically speaking. That money needs to move to our ministry, which is MICT, under which NFC falls. if you check the organogram there. And then NFC would have used FAN to help manage the program nationally. So I hope it can still work in that particular fashion. I'm pretty sure we'd be able to push for something like that. Yeah, Tim?
Yeah, I just think it's a huge responsibility that lies with us as the industry now to deliver these outputs, especially a soap opera. And there needs to be very clear how many episodes are expected. 220 episodes. No, I know that was what the content plan mentioned, but I don't know if this announcement now is in line with that. So, and the same with the series, it needs to be stipulated how many episodes, how many minutes. You know, it needs to be really clear, and then obviously this should land with somebody who can deliver to these specifications, right? And I mean, it's a huge opportunity, but at the same time, it's a huge responsibility on us as the industry, because if we sink this one, then it's going to dry up.
Panashe says that the 20 million is for our program. They could not fund the full 50 million. So I think obviously there will have to be a few tweaks in terms of episodes and timelines and all of that stuff. But essentially, I mean, those are the details, right, of it.
If I could just maybe add to the details of it. So yes, true. Panache makes a very valid point there. That is not the full 50 million. The program is still a $50 million program. So we probably just have to look at how we will fill the gap. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I've always known that we're constantly running out of time. So Tim's point as to how many episodes for the year that does become relevant, because I mean, we're more than halfway through the financial year. And if you think about it, and comes March next year, there will probably be a new cycle. And this is the other one that I want to highlight.
This is for this cycle. Is it for this cycle?
Yeah, boy.
Oh, guys, that's not
Hmm?
What?
So if you look at NDP 6, the way it stands now, yeah, I think there's a budget line now for film in the NDP 6. So that one says 24, what is it? 25, 26, which is this financial year, yes? Yeah, it says 7 million point what for NFC, and then 50 million for film. Now this 50 million is now what they changed to this cultural creative fund thingy. They changed it from film to CCI, basically. That 50 million then repeats for the next 4 or 5 years, I think until 2030.
Yeah. But, sorry, last time I speak, I don't think that money should be spent in the next 6 months, because I doubt that a product will be created. Unless somebody has like soap opera scripts at the ready, has series scripts at the ready, has short films at the ready, because does that mean all the money has to be spent before 31 March 2026? And that is like 5 months from now. And yeah, there's no development, nothing. So if I would strongly advise it not trying to take that money this financial year.
Okay, so yeah. So just in terms of that, so what, as part of the NDP6 conversations, yeah, we were trying to get a certain amount dedicated to film over the period of NDP6, which is until 2031. Yeah. So if you look at what's in NDP6 now, you can see that they earmarked this 50 million. Now, what happened somewhere along the line, I'm not sure how it happened, that film amount, the 50 million for film, got changed into CCI. Yeah. From what I understood even on the side, or from other sources, is there should have technically been a separate 50 million for film alone and another 50 million for CCI. But I mean, I just heard these things, so I'm talking under correction there. But be that as it may, the fact that we're already included in the way that the money is cut up now, I think is a huge plus for us. I do hear your concern, Tim, in terms of what must we do with the money even if we get it now. And I think there should be a due process in terms of that. In terms of developing the content, there should be call-outs. There should be a reasonable process to do that. Yeah, it will take time. So I don't see the money being spent physically. And remember, this is government. So government's money is mostly promises rather than hard cash. So there's still a process to happen to fund this thing completely, to get the program off the ground, to completely structure it. And I'm pretty sure that members will be and should be very involved in that process.
I think I...
Sorry to interrupt, but so the voting has closed. The voting, it's now 12:31. Can we confirm and agree that the voting has officially ended?
What are we supposed to say? No, Secretary, please can you confirm that the voting is over?
I just have one quick suggestion. Is it possible for Mr. Michael to vote because he wasn't on the group like the whole time? So I think we can just keep his record. Which the second one. Okay. So it's 11 for the second. All right.
Please hold your point. You had something about the consent.
Huh?
I think what we need to, it's great that you said that it has to be processes, and this is the great part where FAN can step in and ensure that there are certain, because
about the content.
Yeah, the content.
But then it was actually Vixen's turn.
Oh, yeah, no, he can. Oh, yeah, no, he can.
Okay, do I have 2 minutes before announcements? Okay, no, all I'm saying is that I found it difficult to even start to imagine to put timelines on what was in the newspaper or that thing that I forwarded, because bureaucracy of government and all these things up to now, I suspect or expect for there to be some sort of a committee that will handle these things, or how, because right now, if it goes to Film Commission, which also then has a policy on not funding established filmmakers, because I didn't hear that one change. I'm wondering who will this money go to, and also the process, also all that whole thing, because I could quite see similarities, very 99%. This NCC programmer, the one that FEN, and the one that is being spoken about there. So I thought they are going to just implement that, which we have here, over there. Now, if it has to go over there, I understand there will be an organization or a company identified that will actually manage and administer that fund over there, and also that due to the lack of consulting, between the members and or the filmmakers and the whatever the powers that be, it tends to be messy. I suspect. I'm just afraid that it may be messy. That I don't know how the process is going to be, but I suspect it's really going to take a while before that fund is out there, even with a youth fund. And now the age is also now pushed up from 35 to 45. So you can see people not doing anything. Yeah, now people over 45 years can apply, no longer only up to 35. So all these things, it makes me very worried, and it will be interesting to really see how this will transpire.
Like I was saying. Also to add on, Brixen, NFC does sponsor people. Already established filmmakers. It just comes from an investment point that they have taken. that they're going to do feature films, but you know, they're going to have a stake in it, so you can still apply. So it's still there. So it's not just only newcomers that get funded by NFC. But my point is, at this point, I feel like as Namibian filmmakers, we have an opportunity. I think we're looking at the wrong things. We're trying to nitpick at the wrong things. It doesn't matter who is running what. Question is, can you make a mark and you're able to make a film that can make and represent Namibia in a bigger scale? That's my concern as a filmmaker. All the other stuff is you being a producer to know this is how it moves, this is who I need to talk to, this is how my business is supposed to operate. Because there's no way we can change policies that of things that already have been in the pipeline with other people. We've not been consulted, we know that. But now how do we step in and how do we take control of something that they have put forward for us? And that's the most important thing that we need to, as filmmakers, always remember that we are here to tell a story first. I don't care about policies. Can we tell a story and can I be able to be funded for telling that story? And that's the one thing. And this opportunity right here says, okay, can we write a soapy for the nation? Whoever gets it, I need us to be behind the person because I feel like always every time when somebody gets something, it almost feels like, oh, that's a favor. Let's push, guys. Like there's so much market. Like people are looking for Namibian films, but we keep on caring about who got the thing. And for me, that's ridiculous. There's $20 million. I'm coming, I'm done. Let me finish. Brian, like you told me, let me finish. Don't be rude. Yeah. Yes, because obviously the conversation was also in the document that there was going to be an NCCP committee or something that was going to be voted. Can we vote on that?
You had to end it. No, I don't know, comrades, but in the NCCP, we make it clear that there should be, transfer of skills. It's a very big part of the program, where experienced Namibian filmmakers have to take on interns. And we have a process through which these people then get the training and the experienced people get to work on these productions as well. So that's critical in terms of the program that we proposed. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a group effort. We don't expect people to stay there forever. It's not going to be your permanent job. Hopefully for developmental reasons, opening up the industry, more opportunities will be created. The last one that I just needed to add to this is, yes, it's a $50 million program, but I think if you went and looked at the numbers that we forwarded for the program, it makes back more than the 50 million. So it means that whatever we make back, if we can get the distribution side right of it, NCCP should then be able to fund itself from the next cycle onwards. Yeah.
I just have a tiny suggestion. Maybe the fan board can lobby with the NFC that anybody who applies to that NCCP needs to be a fan member. But you need to publish that. It needs to be, because you know what's going to happen to your membership.
There was. We did propose that as well as we created this. The only challenge was that FAN is a member-based, a voluntary membership based organization, right? So obviously that kind of like, especially if it's a government project, you know what I mean? So it's almost as if now you're including excluding everybody else within the industry. But I mean, we can work around it to say that, you know, perhaps, what do they say? Preference shall be given to a FAN member.
No, I mean, if they get funding, the registration for FAN is what, $300?
Yeah.
If you run a series, a soapy, I'm sure you're handling a bigger budget than that. So it kind of, I personally believe it should be compulsory. If you benefit from that national fund,
we will lobby
that
for
you
that,
actually
yeah.
bolster the Filmmakers Association.
Can we vote?
Let's give him a mic.
I was saying that the one concern that, we cannot run away from or shy away from, there are other organizations, filmmakers, or maybe tomorrow there will be because when they see that honeycomb dripping with honey, they want to start their organizations or entities. We already have a Rongo Filmmakers Association. I think Oruano could also be there somewhere. Are we saying that they cannot benefit from this national body?
Okay. Okay.
So they cannot,
No.
I don't think so. But anyway, it's a question that I'm posing because they have the right to exist. Like even the NWN and the NUNW and the other trade organizations, trade unions and so on. Those bodies, by constitution, they are allowed to be in existence. So it's the same with these ones. If somebody wants to start a thing, if they see we are always fighting and they want to start their own thing where there will be harmony, they are allowed to do that, and they can also benefit from that.
Okay.
I think that might be a reality we cannot run away from.
Okay. Welcome.
Because NFC funds, non-members right now.
Yeah. So I think that for us was also clarified a while back already, is that we cannot dictate that for a government project. We cannot say that it's also only association-based. As the association who is the initiator and the driver of this program, we will be very involved in the rollout of the program. So I think that does give us a certain amount of control. But I think rather than holding people ransom, I think we should just make joining the association a lot more attractive. And I think through a program like this, once people can see tangibles on the ground, it'll probably help in terms of that. Maybe if we can start rounding up, and get to the voting and the poll. Cecil, welcome. You have anything comment? We were talking about the NCCP now.
Yeah, I just my big concern about it is that once again it's about we have to develop this industry. The numbers that is there, there's some very strong numbers that's been done, and thank you, Warren, for what you clarified now. I was listening all the way in the cab and so on. But the numbers is there, but the development aspect of the industry, I miss that. I mean, it's sort of like coming down to, like we would say something, let's just build a film city and everything will be fine. It's also, let's just throw these numbers there and everything will be fine. I guess what you were saying, or saying that FAN needs to take lead into what this program has to do, for who and how. I'm talking about like even simple things of like just developing concepts. Let's just start there. That there needs some kind of proper mentorship. I mean, there's people like Collective Productions and so on that's been doing now multiple international productions. That development is really important, the development aspect, to develop sort of like grassroots kind of development going on, and also this kind of like tier program that from this development you go to this, to this, to this, to this. And also what I think what Vixen was saying about, just a comment on that, sort of like who's going to be the 4 people that's going to be in charge of the 50 million, or now, like you said, it's 20 million, and probably next week it's going to be 10 million, and so on. I don't know what the situation is. Who is these people that's going to decide? Is there any filmmakers? And does these filmmakers speak for themselves? Or do they speak for this organization that's supposed to represent the filmmakers' ideologies? I just think there's a lot of work for FAN to be done. Some of that money should definitely come for us to be able to get the right mentorships, to talk to the right people, get the right people, and empower the right members in FAN, or I don't know if there's such thing as wrong members and so on, to take a look at this lump sum of 50 million or something like that. Thank you.
Okay, sorry guys, if I can just answer a lot of the questions and concerns. Cecil's main concern being mentorship, and being so closely involved in the development of the program. Mentorship is central in the program. That's the key point that the program is making, that is, you want to get new blood in that is being trained by experienced Namibian filmmakers, so that there is some sort of transfer of skills that happens there. In terms of governance and who are the people that decides for this, so the way that it is currently structured, it goes MICT, NFC, and NFC then employs FAN to help manage help run the program, if you please. So on that level, I definitely see a need, probably a must for us, that the membership is very involved in setting up whatever selection committees, setting up selection criteria. How do we decide on the soapy? How do we decide on the TV series? How do we select the regional films and stuff like that? I think there, the process will have to lean heavily on the existing expertise within the association. I hope that gives you some sort of clarity and comfort. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. So the other point about Vixen that I remember is about this ageism that is now really had. Sort of like the idea of that sort of veterans is not eligible. It's the same question that was during the Film Commission, that if you're a board member, can you apply for the funds? That's the same kind of question. And what we have to realize and maybe grow up about is that if the talented young people that come from that sort of like as now mentors, YouTube as mentors and so on. On the broad spectrum of filmmaking, you still need people that knows how films are made and not watch videos about how films are made. And in that regard, it's like sort of, I think we as fans should also make a way with that, because the people that probably is going to take us to the Cannes festivals or the African film festivals or wherever, Busan or whatever in the world, that will make the eyes of the world look at us as Namibia and so on, is probably people that have had experience in the film industry. So maybe also just something to say about that. That's a dangerous thought, to think that very young people will be able to manage a $20 million budget or $10 million budget or $5 million budget, even a $500,000 budget. You need a bit of experience to at least know what you're doing with that. So I would like to, how do you say, make away with that thought. Thank you very much.
Okay. Vixen, is there a mic that side? But I think we should start concluding. We're well over an hour past.
Yeah. My only other concern also, and this is a concern that I always held, even from the times when I was at the Film Commission. And we cannot run away from the fact that, guys, in this little pool, there will always be, like, so to say, and let me put it bluntly, professional jealousy, people that will say, hey, by the way, we all know each other as readers. Now, when I am there, and I know my friend's project is there, and the other guy that I don't drink coffee with is also there, I will go for my friend most probably. It's just human nature. So what I'm getting at is that the people who are going to do the selection, it's all good to say, yeah, it will come from there, but where it ends, it ends. And in the past, how we even try to do this as transparent as possible is maybe to get outsiders to read who are not a friend of anybody. So that, I'm not a prophet, but I could already see maybe something like that, so, or concerns coming up like that. How do we try to circumvent that, or to avoid those suspicions when it comes to that? It's just a thought that is on my mind. So it's really something that we have to think of.
Okay, not to drag out matters too much. I think when it comes to the NCCP, for now, I think we have a simple vote in terms of that. Does it carry the members' endorsement or not? So it's a simple yay or no in terms of the National Content Creation Plan. I just have to emphasize again that a lot of the concerns that you guys are raising in terms of governance, funding, structure, rollout, I think FEN will be, or the members of FEN should be very involved in structuring such going forward. So, this is the first case. Let's saying something.
I just had a question. No. I just had a question. I wanted to know.
We didn't do a good job.
Yeah. Basically, my question for this initiative would be: what is the objective when they are when they're availing this money? What is their objective? What at the end do we want to accomplish with this money? Is it just to have product? Is it to just develop the industry? Or specifically, do we want this to take the industry somewhere? And if that's the case, then obviously you have to be strategic about how you spend that money. So I just thought maybe someone could shed light on the objectives.
Okay, I think some of the objectives are to get people busy. I think that one of the biggest complaints that we have right now is that, we don't have any kind of income, for just a average filmmaker. So it's also a sustainability objective as well in terms of, keeping ourselves busy. Because a lot of times, we've got projects and, you do one project and then for the next 2 to 3 years, you don't have any work. But also at the end of the day, it's also an opportunity for us to improve our skills and, for continuous training as well. Because if we are saying that within the next 10 years, we will have an established film city for argument's sake, how do we ensure that our filmmakers have practiced enough in order to be able to participate in international films? So let's say we've got the incentives in place, and we've got the film city in place, and we've got international companies coming in to shoot. Because in the past, a lot of times we are left out of these productions, and we get very small roles and low-paying roles because of our skills, because of basically what our CV says, right? And although, a lot of us feel like, we've done a lot of productions locally, sometimes it does not meet the international standard. And that's why they then rope in their own people and they bring in their own human resource. So I think basically lightly, if I hope that answers your question in a very light way.
Are you basically saying that more money will equal to better productions or more quantity of productions? Will it improve the quality, number one? Number two is that we've been funded for however many years. NFC's been there. What difference has it made? What gap is the industry missing that we can then now say this money will fill that gap to get these productions to that next level or to get us on an international stage?
Okay, quickly pass on the mic then. You also wanted to say something? Before I answer, but I wondered maybe I should just shoot first. Hopefully it'll help with a lot of the questions. So in terms of the objectives of the project, so the first thing that I mentioned, that is the money going in should be able to come back. So that is the key part of the model that we were working on. Because everybody that you go to is, what's my ROI? What's the return on investment? Why should government even invest in this? So we worked it out in such a way that through the distribution channels that we highlight in the program, there should be a return on the investment that at the very minimum makes us break even. And I think that is only on the first run, basically selling it to NBC one time, then we can make our money back. Yeah, but then you still have the options of selling it to anybody else in Sabah or the Southern African broadcasting community, worldwide if you please. So that means that the program in itself has the potential to make profit. Now I think for us as an industry, that has been the key obstacle is it was difficult for us to show that you can make a return on investment. Because essentially we were trying to do that through theater ticket sales, which in itself with a 2 million population just doesn't work. But if you follow the TV route, there's the impressions per 1,000, yeah? Per milli. Impressions per milli framework that you can use, which then determines the value, the advertising and marketing value of your content. And this is what the program is pushing. So we're going to sell this thing to NBC at that particular, what do you call it? Yeah, at that particular price point, with the understanding or assumption that we can still probably make something on top through advertising and what other revenue sources, also through resales. And if we have that model working, it then should make it so much easier for established filmmakers outside of the program to enter that process. There's going to be a benchmark. So assuming that a lot of the content that we'll be creating now will be, obviously there will be quality assurance for everything. It needs to be at least broadcast quality. So it's not going to get broadcast on NBC if it doesn't meet at least that minimum standard. But beyond that, for you as a independent filmmaker, you can now step into a structure, get funding. You have a baseline. You can say, okay, but you bought that hobo soapy of yours. You're paying 1,000. My program is award-winning, internationally acclaimed. So I probably should get 2,000. And I think that opens up the conversation for that, i.e., creating the market or the economy ecosystem for us filmmakers to survive in, both new and old.
Yeah, which is also, partly what I wanted to contribute as well. To answer Madge's question, the government's objective, according to national priorities, is job creation and eliminating youth unemployment. So that's also one of the, reasons why we came up with this concept, is because we want to speak to the national development goals of the government. So government supports initiatives that speak to their priorities. And if their priority is to create more employment, then and they see that there is a sustainable model in place to support that objective of the government, then they can then say, okay, because you guys have managed to reach these government objectives, we can add more funding to it as well. So that's why every year you can then lobby for more funding, and that will also equate to better quality for productions, and then that will allow us to also further exploit our products on other platforms within the region or even internationally. Michael?
I think for me it was more of the sustainable part of it. How to make this sustainable, or is it going to be every year you have, or you just have a situation where every year the government is pumping money into this program, so to speak, and then it's kind of like we're just using this money to learn how to make films. We need to turn this into a business case so that the money that then is pumped in, we can be able to turn that money into more money. And then at some point, not to say that we won't need the government anymore, but we are showing that this is a successful model.
No, I was about to say something about this sustainability. As a person who has a product that has return on investment, I think ensuring sustainability is always about, do our filmmakers understand that they are a business? Because that's the first thing. Filmmakers feel like they want to do just storytelling, but do they understand that the fact that they are a business, and every business has to have a model? And I don't think we have that aspect. And the great thing that is South Africa has shown us that the government has given them $100 million every year. Every year they get $100 million to do all of those soapies. And they have learned through that $100 million every year. And so I think, yes, we should get, it's 200 now? Yeah. So now I think, yes, we should get $50 million every year, because that's how you make sustainability, because everybody's going to work, everybody's going to, that's how you get the market. And strategically wise, when we place our product, I need people to understand. And really, I have all the love and respect for NBC, and it's great that they are a partner for distribution. Thank you. But I will tell you now, for a person who has gone and tried to sell my product to NBC, they never paid, not even my worth, what I even shot. you know? So what we need to do is that, do we then say, hey, NBC, are you able to also distribute to One Africa? Are you able to distribute to Zambezi Magic? How are you going to be competitive enough? Because nobody watches NBC Africanly unless you're from Namibia. And so I think for me it's very important, when you look at the numbers even, you know, the channel itself, NBC, 3, 1 or 2, you can see that the population that's watching it is Namibia. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that discourse and say, hey, Africa, this is our content. Just the same way, and the great example I can show is the Third Wheel. So popular, it was on Zambezi. It was so popular, it was renewed so many times, right? It's because they found a platform and everybody else in Africa was watching, oh, this is how they deal with it. And strategically, we have to, how do you say it? Go out. Don't stay in. I don't like making content for us. I like to make content for everybody, for Africa, to see Namibia. And that's the strategy that should be that.
Yeah. So speaking of NBC, right, I think, for example, even when we're talking about continuation, all of these things, there are key stakeholders that we need to engage to ensure that we get the support and the endorsement from NBC, right? And the plan was to do that alongside the NFC and also have our minister's assistance. Because once you get a program like this tabled at cabinet, right, the stakeholders kind of also to some degree, I could be speaking under correction, but they are then forced to participate in a way, especially if it is feasible for the government, do you know what I mean? But I think that there's a lot of conversations to be had with the NFC, but it's almost a year and we haven't been able to see the NFC board. Yeah, so it's a bit of a challenge. I mean, even just funding for FAN, it's been a year we have not received, the financial support. But maybe I'm jumping. But I think we're getting there. But this is one of the conversations we want to have with the NFC and with our minister. But yeah, let's conclude and vote.
I just wanted to ask, because I just stepped out for a few seconds. I just wanted to find out the old board. I remember I saw some couple of pictures. You guys were at the State House or something like that, or with the government. You guys met up with the government or something like that. I just wanted to ask, how are you guys actually forcing this government to take this industry serious? Because film industry is one hell of a serious business. This is actually our we live on this. If you see actors in Nigeria, actors in South Africa, these guys, most of them actually make money from this. And because the reason why they make money from this, it's because their government do understand what film business means, because film business is bigger than music business. It's very big. It's bigger than film, because the money that the government has to generate in this industry is more than any other government institution. Because if you have to see what the South Africans are doing, they pop in money in their industry, and the money comes back yearly. See, we have students at College of the Arts. We have those are people that have to get employment. Employment starts there. You have guys that do sound, they have to get employment. It's very important. Government has to pop in money into this industry for them to realize that money is here, and the employment to even just to reduce their employment problems it comes from here also. How are you guys actually forcing this government to take this very serious? Because it's very important. It's far better than this is actually what actually people, like most of us, you understand? And it even motivates a person that's also at College of the Arts, like, yo, I do sound, I do cables, I do what, I do lighting, you understand? I get money from this. I can pay my sons or my daughter's school. I can buy a car. I can make a living out of this. How is this government taking us serious?
Okay, okay, so the fact that even though it's a bit premature, the fact that we are actually part of this 50 million, and we're taking probably the biggest part of the cake, 20 out of 50 million, for a program that we, as FAN, developed and pushed to government. Now, even in that push, in working together in developing the program, there were two key government entities part of that process. The NFC was one, and also the Directorate of Arts, which sits under the Ministry of, in MISEC, what is it, Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture. Yeah, that one. So they've been involved from the get-go. As a matter of fact, the money that's being sliced up now by the minister at MISEC, by Honorable Steenkamp, it's money that falls under their portfolio or their budget vote, because arts and culture is under their budget vote. But through that relationship that we built, FAN, I think, was instrumental in building that relationship between NFC and the Arts Council, or what's it, Art Directorate, yeah. Through that, these people are actually willing to give film such a big part. Remember, there is so many other art forms out there: ballet, wood carving, watercolor painting. All these people need to get a piece of that cake. But the fact that they're giving film such a big chunk of it already shows that, number one, what we have been doing for the last year as a community, filmmakers community, and the FAN board actually paid off. But I think also more importantly, is the fact that in NDP 6, as part of the National Development Plan for this country, film is there, right at the center. And that goes without saying. Even Her Excellency talking about Film City and the renewed support for the cultural creative industries, that already also shows that government is even pushing from their side. It's not just us pushing them to make film relevant. They see and they understand that film is central when it comes to job creation and creating economic impact for the broader Namibian community. But without going too much further and over-discussing this point, can we please take it to a vote now, whether the National Content Creation Plan is endorsed by the members present or not? By show of hands, a simple yay or no. The ones online are very welcome to indicate as well. How many people do we have online? I don't think that needs to be via poll, because there's no other option. You can simply say yes or no. Online people, please. Us. Yeah, we shall do in person. Did you post for the online people or yellow? No. They just have to say whether. Yeah, they just have to say. Yeah, they just have to say yes or no. CP, yes or no. There's a basic question. We can also pose a question on the members group. I think we can do the vote in the room and maybe give the online guys a few minutes to get back to us. But in terms of the room, all those in favor of supporting, endorsing the NCCP as the FAN program, please raise your hands. NCCP? Hello? Are you in support or not? 7 out of the how many?
Yes or no?
8. Okay. And all those not in favor, please raise your hands.
All those abstain?
Okay, they abstained. 1. Okay. So we have 1 abstention, 1 nay. Any feedback? Is it a nay or a yay?
Okay, so we have 2
Yes.
online.
Okay.
So that's
10.
3 yes online.
11. Okay. I think that concludes it in all fairness.
It's 10 past 1, guys.
Yeah, it's time to.
Because I asked the question.
It's you, Tim. So next time. Okay. Okay. So I think 5 years or so, I think based on the majority of the votes that we have, the NCCP is endorsed and supported by the FAN members. Yep. If I had a gavel. Done. Okay. Can we now... Okay, there's still one outstanding point that we had that we wanted to cover. It was around governance issues affecting FAN. Particularly the relationship with the NFC came up numerous times. Yeah. So, yeah, we can maybe have a quick 10-minute discussion around that before we conclude with the announcement of the actual vote.
Yeah, I think a FAN member is the chairperson of the NFC board. I think the association needs to be able to lobby that chairperson to facilitate a meeting between the commission board and the FAN board. Why? Okay, Esther, please give us a phone call. Tuna is online. Let's hear from you, please.
Any other comments?
Maybe that's a bit of a question, because I know in the Constitution it says that, of course, the members, the filmmakers that are representing the industry, that FAN gives them a mandate to sit on the NFC board. And it actually also says that we are signing a contract with them, which probably we haven't done, like to set out some of the terms that will maybe clear up some of the inconsistencies with the relationship between, like, if there's reporting back or if there's any sort of correlation that the FAN board knows what the members are representing there, what the positions are, and have we done that? Not yet, I suppose.
Not yet, and that was also something that we wanted to move swiftly on with as well. I think that's something that we definitely did sort of like miss the ball on that. So we are definitely looking at that, and we were also looking to establish KPIs for not just the board, but as well as for the person who's representing FAN at NFC level. But Esther is now on the call. Yes, Esther, please proceed.
Hi, thank you so much. So with regards to setting up a meeting with the NFC board, it really has been a challenge. I know that from the last meeting that we had, the board members had agreed to taking this meeting. However, agreeing on a date or even just getting feedback on their availability has really been a challenge. I mean, we can barely get together just for our actual board meetings. Even just setting those up has been hard. So I'm hoping that, as a board or as a community, we can come up with a solution about how to move forward with it. I like the idea of maybe starting to push on an MOU of sorts or a contract with the NFC, and for us to just keep sending that through in the form of a draft and saying, hi, look, seeing that we're not finding time to meet, can we please look at the terms of this type of agreement? Because at this point, I'm having a tough time. Another route we can take is to go through the committees. I know that Shuna is currently sitting on the IDC, which is the Industry Development Committee, and perhaps maybe presenting this draft contract between the NFC and FAN at the next meeting. And because the way that it works is that once the committees agree on something, it's just kind of presented to the board.
We have a memorandum. We have a memorandum signed with NFC. The contract would be for Esther. Or the contract would be for yourself and Ronald.
Yes. So the
Sorry,
again,
just quickly.
it's just to relook at the MOU, the memorandum of understanding that FAN has with the NFC, to relook at that. One, to push that again at the IDC meeting and saying, hey, look, you guys are not keeping your end of this agreement, because once the committees have put forth a recommendation, more often than not, the board just agrees on whatever that recommendation is. So that is my suggestion at this point, because as I said, it's just too many, it's so many obstacles with getting everyone together and agreeing on a date that suits them. So that's been the challenge on my end.
Okay, hold on. Sophie has a question for you, and as well as Tim.
Oh, it's not really a question. It's just like the MOU is one thing, and I hear you, and it would be to go back to the MOU and see what that says in terms of like. Oh, sorry. Okay, the MOU is one thing. It would be good to go back and see like what are the different roles and responsibility, which sort of like say something about the relationship between FAN and NFC. But the other thing is that in the FAN constitution, it says that we should do a contract with our representatives at the NFC. So that would be you and Ronald. Also looking at the fact that, of course, the FAN board is always 1 year, and the people that are representing the industry are 3 years, have a 3-year tenure on the NFC board. We just haven't done that. It says that in the constitution, but we haven't done that yet. That's what I meant with the contract.
Yes, again, that's still been pending. But we've had obviously very internal issues with the FAN board, and once that's been ironed out, I'm sure that this is on the next plan of action on the side of FAN. But now I can only speak on what I suggest we do moving forward with regards to kind of making sure that the NFC lives up to the commitments that they've made to FAN. I really do believe that the best route to take is to go through the IDC, because once again, whatever recommendations come from the committees are usually just, they're usually approved by the board because they've already been scrutinized.
Esther, I have also reached out. I'm on the committee, yes, but I did ask when we did have a sitting, I think about 2 months ago, for Ronald to facilitate a meeting for us. And I think, I'm not so sure if that was mentioned at your strategic session that you guys had in September. Was it September or August? But before your strategic session, I did again ask to the committee. So I'm not so sure if that's the fastest route. I think one of the comments or suggestions, at least from my end, is that is there any way that we can have a conversation, perhaps through the NFC and the minister? Because I think there's some level of accountability that needs to be had, right? And if for somebody or an association to request for a meeting in December, until now we don't have a meeting still with the board, maybe there's a larger issue at play, you know, because I think there are some issues or struggles that you are having with your board. And if you cannot get through to them, perhaps we need to just take more drastic measures, like have a sit down with the minister and say, Minister, this is the board that you have employed to assist us, the industry. Currently, we are not getting that support from your board, and it's almost a year. And so many things have happened within the last year. So can you perhaps facilitate a meeting where FAN and NFC has a sit down with the minister, and we iron out some of these issues and we get things rolling a bit faster? I think that's sort of like a comment from my end.
Give them a chance quickly.
Give them a chance as well.
Just 3 little action possibilities. Number 1 is, how much of the board do you need to meet? Does it need to be the full board, or is it the chairperson and 1 or 2 other people? So that would be one option, might be easier to facilitate. Number 2 is, if the board has regular meetings, or 3 or 4 times a year, is it not possible to coordinate that meeting with the meeting, the FAN board, same day? I'm just putting ideas out there, because I mean, it really cannot be that difficult. And then thirdly, Esther, as the chairperson, you do have some power. And as a chairperson, you get to call meetings. And if the board actually bulldozes you over, then you need to step up and say, listen, as a chairperson, I am making this mandatory and it needs to happen. Please indicate your earliest availability.
One more comment, then you can answer all of us at once. One more comment from Mr. Cecil.
Hello, hello. Okay, microphone check, 1, 2. Sorry, just kidding. Hello, Esther. First of all, for us to sit in this situation or position, it's a plus. It's positive. I know there was, in the past, the question was when you left the FAN board, I think, and then how would we then sort of like connect with the NFC board? I would just maybe also recommend. I know that I'm not saying you're going through some kind of bullying going on through the bureaucracy of what government is. Government is a very strange animal to navigate. And many times, a lot of us, for the other board members would sort of like have reasons not to attend. But like Tim said, you are the chairperson. You have the rights to call meetings. You have the right to make decisions and even ask for proxy votes on things. Second of all, I was thinking that maybe a very positive thing could be that maybe once, I even want to say twice a year, there is something called an alignment meeting with the Film Commission and with FAN. And FAN and the Film Commission align our objectives for the year, so that all of us on the same front fight the exact same challenges and get results out of it. Because part of the past was to fractionalize our efforts, meaning that you try stuff there in a vacuum, we try stuff here, and we keep drowning in the little water that we are. But I think an alignment meeting, and therefore that alignment meeting will then also hold the FAN board accountable, meaning that the FAN board at the alignment meeting speaks not only what the board decide, but what the members and the board have decided about what is those 3 or 4 points that we need to tackle for this year. It's the same idea of eradicating poverty. We need specific goals for the year to say, okay, we tackle this, we tackle that. And I would like you to maybe consider something like that, and FAN as well, that we have. That's going to cut a lot of the last 20 years. I mean, I don't know how long the Film Commission has been there, but there's always been this issue of not meeting and what. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to add?
That's fine. You can proceed.
Okay. Thank you so much for this feedback. I think I really love also the tone of this conversation because it feels very collaborative. On the one hand, Shuna, just with your suggestion about the FAN board sitting with the minister and along with the NFC board, I wouldn't necessarily advise that we take this route because we do need to present a united front, especially right now in the midst of this NCCP plan and all of these things. I don't know if showing up in this way would give the minister much confidence in us as an industry. I do think that it is something that we have to be able to sort out internally. But I think it's definitely worth putting down as a last resort if we really are still finding it challenging to meet with the NFC board. I guess I mean just based off of the recommendations, do we have any dates in mind right now that I can present to the board again and call for a meeting once again, even if it is an online meeting, just to kind of insist on this? And then my second recommendation is that please let's review the MOU, the existing MOU that we have with the NFC, so that in that meeting we are holding the NFC board accountable to to whatever the commitments are that currently exist between the NFC board and FAN. And then if for example, there are terms in that MOU that need to be updated or changed, let's be ready when we meet with the board with a draft and say, look, or send ahead a draft that we can discuss at this meeting.
Okay, well
Okay.
noted. There's
Okay.
just comments online as well
All
before
right.
you.
Let's before we conclude.
Okay, Panashe's comment is, can we please have a 5-year strategic plan for FAN? This will allow us to have KPIs for the board and the NFC representatives, etc. I also agree with Tim's comments. As a chair elected by the minister and having 2 members on a board of 5, I think we need to bulldoze our way. We cannot wait months for a meeting. It's worrisome also that NFC developed the strategic plan before this meeting. Let's ensure alignment between FAN and NFC.
Okay, I think a lot has been said on that particular topic, but I think we can safely round it off with one of the key recommendations that came out there, which is that we need to have this alignment meeting between FAN, and that for me would include the membership and the NFC. As to when this will happen, I think it will be difficult for us to decide that now, but hopefully we can have a constructive conversation around that on the group, or we can do that online and get that going as soon as possible. You wanted to say, Tom?
It's just trying to coordinate it with the members. I think that's asking a lot. I think what you guys can do up front is ask for input from the members, and then you kind of represent the members when you meet the NFC. Because don't try and coordinate 60 people.
Okay, no, well noted, and thanks for that correction. Then we will proceed with this matter in that regard. We will consult. Yeah, we will consult with the members, get their input, and then we will forward the request for a meeting with the NFC at the soonest possible date. And we.
Please don't forget to, again, there needs to be a review of the existing MOU. And if you have terms that need to be updated, have that document prepared and sent ahead so that that can be discussed in the meeting as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much,
Share
and
it.
we will definitely have a look at the MOU then as well. So that's the next steps in terms of those process. I think with that we can safely conclude it, and also then conclude this meeting by quickly going to the results. So the meeting results. Let's quickly have a look here. The voting results.
All right.
I wish we were all getting paid for this time.
So the voting results are the first point, which is the new board or completely new slate, has 0 votes. The second one, which is the endorsement of the board with associated portfolios and fill vacant positions for 2024 to 2025 until next AGM, has 14 votes. I counted the proxies as well. And then the third one is to keep the 2024 to 2025 board as is without associated portfolios, which got 3 votes. And then the final one, which is the creation of an advisory committee to allow further investigation, has 4 votes. Thank you.
So with that, I believe it's decided. The members have spoken. So we continue with the board with portfolios intact, rather than having, filling up the vacancies as we would have done. We will just refresh that process just to make it constitutional again, if you please, in inviting the 2 candidates that accepted their nominations. Are you staying on? Mic, please. Mic.
Can I think about it?
Just say yes, no, please, man.
Maybe I can ask a question before that answer. Can you just reiterate who is this board member? Please tell us the portfolios.
All right, you're on.
I just have a question. I just want to understand. So, are we saying that we maintain this board with existing portfolios until just to confirm, it's until the next AGM, or is this the continuity that was requested at the last AGM that will be kept until the end of the NFC board tenure?
Until the AGM.
Is that constitution amendment? So the letter is basically part of a constitutional amendment, which we have not done yet. So it refers to the first option, which is basically until the next AGM. I've got nods in the room as well, yeah. So the second option requires us to first do a constitutional amendment, if not a workshopping first. So we workshop the constitution, see what are the changes that we need to do with the members in the room and with the legal advisor in the room as well. And that's the only time we can actually do that.
Okay. Okay, but I think the results are out in terms of that. Just to clarify, Esther, I think it's clear that on the polls that it is with portfolios as they are.
Chairperson is.
Oh, okay, so the chairperson is Byron. The vice chairperson is Shuna. The secretary is Armas. The treasurer, which is now vacant, used to be Ina. Then we have Angelo serving as board member. Was the other member? Membership drive. Esther was programs. Yeah. And Vixen in partnerships and collaboration. Then.
So you have to replace treasurer.
Yes.
And
Programs director. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll. Yeah. So since we had that nomination process, we'll go with the nominees that accepted first. I think it would be superfluous to do it again. So the one. Yeah. And Jackson. What's Jackson's surname? Sorry.
I don't know, but he's always based in Zambezi.
Okay, Jackson's
Jackson, I wonder if Jackson is even on this. He was trying to. Okay, but with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to thank you in that we resolved. It needs to be assigned based on how we fill the vacancies.
Just for the online,
Okay, so the two vacant portfolios will need to be filled by the board based on, I guess, the needs of that particular portfolio. But I do believe that we will go with the two people that accepted their nominations, which is Jackson and Georgina.
One has to take treasurer, one has to take partnerships and other.
Technically speaking.
Because treasurer you did need for sure, the other portfolios we kind of like make that also.
Yeah, so those portfolios, but treasurer is a very specific one. I mean, if you're pushing my hand in terms of this one, I probably would have thought shifting treasurer temporarily to a more senior board member. But since we're stuck in this quagmire, I would definitely then have to say that, no, realistically, it has to be those two positions filled.
Can I also just say something? That the position of the treasury, even now that you have a so-called, I also just think some of us is not musicians. So I just want to say the position of the treasury, and so that you say that you want to have a senior portfolio. there's 2 members that was now nominated that we all agree, which is Georgina and Jackson, to be the new members. Regardless of how we look at it, we still have to keep the board accountable for the treasury position. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, I think that goes without saying, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we more than 2 hours over.
Okay, can I just add a small topic to the agenda? Quickly.
No, you can't. Actually,
Quickly. Because then I will answer then I will answer. The thing is, 12.2 says whenever there is money, it needs to be paid into the bank account of the association within 2 days with the receipts. I'm still stuck with 2024, the money of the members that was paid. That amount never reached the coffers of the association. Because we mentioned it amongst us, and I still, to date, never got an answer to that. It was thrown behind me that the treasurer and the person involved with the money they're gonna sort it out. But I've looked at the statements, the bank statements of the account, and I've never saw any money being paid as such into the.
Is this, sorry, can I respond to that? Because I remember that specific case. So is this with the 25th of May 2024 fan meeting where the first people signed up? In that meeting it was resolved that the funds from those membership fees can be used to pay Georgina and Yalo, or one of the two, to facilitate the election process and to facilitate drafting the reports. Because remember, that was admin heavy. It might not have been you, it might just have been Georgina. But I do recall that very clearly, that because that money existed in cash on the day, and some of it was either blue wallets or easy wallets or, virtual wallets. But basically, I think there was an agreed amount of $1,000 or $1,500. I'm not entirely sure of the amount, to be used specifically for the admin that was involved. So I clearly remember that.
But then what I'm talking about, referring to, is the balance. The balance of that amount is still outstanding. There
is expenditure associated.
Yes, which we know, which comes with slips and stuff and invoices, which was never part of INA's reports.
The final report.
Yes.
Okay, so the concern is well noted. I think it's something that we as a board need to deal with. Also considering when that particular concern became very apparent was towards the end of the tenure, where people was like, I think, when did we get the bank statements? Like 2 months or 3 months back only. 3 months where we could actually, there was a problem with FNB, so we could never confirm whether it's there or not. Unfortunately, after that it was confirmed. But also, unfortunately, at that stage, the board was falling apart. Yeah, so it couldn't be dealt with. But it's definitely something that will need to be high on our agenda, because fiscal integrity is, I think it's central, especially moving into this new era where we will need to deal with more money, hopefully. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, I think with that, with certain...
One more, sorry, it's very short, just quickly. Angelo, was that the condition that you would be on the board, or are you on the board? I need to hear that from you. Are you on? Okay, thank you very much. That's all I want.
Okay, I will stay on.
Thank you. Thank you, Sykes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This SGM for FEN. Yes, we have a board again. Thank you. We can move on. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.